Hi, Malin Johnson here from Main Street Guyman, and we're going to tell you some interesting things happening in June here around Guyman area, and we're glad to have you with us. Okay, Jada, we're going to talk about some of the things that are happening in June during this period, and you've got a chamber event coming in. That's the golf tournament, don't you?
Yes, on June 23rd.
Can you tell us a little about it?
Well, if people have a 4-person scramble team, if they register by June the 13th, they'll get 2 free mulligans.
Is that good? Or is that bad? I don't know.
I really don't know what a mulligan is, but I think it's a good value.
It used to be a stew where I came from.
Well, it's worth $10.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so, you know.
I never had $10 stew, but
I'm stumped. I don't know what to say to that. I have not either, I guess.
So what does the money from the tournament go to?
It goes towards our programming for the year. It doesn't necessarily go towards one project or one source. It helps all of our projects or our operating costs, and you know, it costs a little bit of money to keep the lights on and keep
Buy
me nice.
Insurance.
Yeah, and keep me cool.
Oh, that's important.
It is very important, especially during the summer.
Yes.
But those are the things that money goes for. And it's a good time. It's our 16th annual, so we've kind of worked some different things in the past, and we went back to the 4-person scramble because it seems to work the best.
That's nice.
And it's a fun time. There's usually, you know, anywhere from 15 to 20 teams that play in it, and it's all cash hole-in-one prizes, and we do a putting contest, and we have people go out and just have fun. It's not for serious kind of a thing, so if you're like thinking that you're going to get onto the PGA tour,
yeah,
nah, it's not going to happen with this.
In fact, I think Sergio Alvidrez actually 2 years ago golfed in his flaps, didn't he?
Yes. Yes. Judy Zollinger did as well.
Yes. Oh.
So, you know, I don't think it's that serious.
And it's a good time. Do most people get their own team together and then enter up?
Most people do, but there are some times that there's a new person to town that's maybe seeing the flyer up at the golf course and wants to play. So we try to fit them in with some other teams and see if they could, you know, join up and have some fun.
Awesome. So do they call you, or who do they call?
They can call me, or they can call Guy Langham. Guy Langham works at Anchor D Bank, and that number is 338-1000. And give him a heads up on what you want to do. We also have sponsorship packages available from anywhere from $50 to $350, so you can kind of pick what you'd like. And, you know, I don't golf, so I really don't know what to tell people about how it is, but we have a lot of people that are excited about going out and doing a team fun event on the golf course because it's such a beautiful course.
Yes, I've heard a lot of, I'm with you, I'm not a golfer, but a lot of people compliment the course here in Guyman.
Yeah, it's something that they work really hard at.
It's good. Okay. So let's talk about a couple of other things that are coming on.
Okay.
There's a monster truck shootout on June 2nd.
That seems to be very popular. I know that they bring some trucks to town and they park them at sponsoring businesses, and I think they give some tickets away, and it's loud.
And it's at 7 p.m.
It's at 7 p.m. I know that they jump cars because they asked if they could use my car, and I said no.
Oh, you?
I didn't want that.
Well, huh.
I like my car.
Yeah, I'm thinking the insurance isn't coming back on that one.
No.
June 7th is the Shop and Dine.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. The local businesses, there's 6 of them that participate.
Well, I heard that the new Western store on Main Street went in on it this time, so they'll...
That'll be 7.
Yeah, so we have SPC's Wow Boutique, Golden Crown,
La Amistad,
L'Amistad, Merle Norman,
Beauty and the Beast,
Christine's.
and now the Top Pen Western store.
There we go.
It's fun.
That goes from 4 to 7.
And it's very casual.
Very casual and a lot of people smiling.
Yes.
They have snacks for you at the store, and then all together they come and you sign up for a swag bag.
And how you do it, they give you a card, and each participating location, they either punch it or stamp it. And then when you're done, you put your name and your phone number on it, and they draw the next day. And if you've won, then you get the swag bag, and it's pretty swaggy.
I heard it's worth more than $200.
I'm sure it is. I know that I have never personally won it. My daughter won it, which was not fair since I bought her stuff. She did not, well, she shared some mousse with me, but from Beauty and the Beast. But I'm just saying, that was not fair.
June 12th is the Co-op Connection. It is at PTCI North, which is on
good.
Main Street, north of town. And from 12 to 1, you come in. TCEC, I believe, is who does that. And they have lunch for you, sandwiches, and
And a drawing usually of
for
some
$100.
Is it main bucks that they draw for?
Sometimes it's main bucks, and sometimes it is for the store.
Oh, that makes sense.
So I
That's
don't
good.
know. Either way, it would be a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it's $100 free dollars.
I know.
Cha-ching.
Plus a free lunch.
Wow. Well, why would you miss that?
I don't know. I didn't miss it last month.
I did.
And then on we do have some classes coming up in June.
Oh, what
Some
are we gonna
artsy
learn?
classes, painted rock class. I don't know what to tell you about it, but it's coming up.
Is it like a pet rock, I wonder? That'd be fun.
I don't know.
Okay.
It could be a harassing rock. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, have you seen the new benches we've had?
They are nice, and then people are buying them as memorials, and people are buying them as advertising, and it's just a real nice.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Well, and then it ties in really nicely with those new trash cans that are downtown. I know that sounds like small potatoes, I guess, in a large barrel, but whenever you make little changes, that it makes a big impact.
It does.
And they look really nice.
And Main Street, remember when we competed and Main Street beat you guys at
I
that?
don't remember any of that.
Let me remind you. Anyway, we took that money and bought the 4 new trash cans down there, and so
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that was nice of
I think people cheated
maybe. I'll tell you why we won.
because it was your event.
Well, it wasn't. It was just held here, but it was a Lonco's event because we delivered to people.
Oh. I can't.
And I think they felt obligated to vote for us.
I don't think that we could deliver.
You could have, except you had a board meeting at the same time.
Yeah.
Cha-ching.
That's why I'm saying you cheated.
It works.
They planned it well.
But the benches they're going up, and all those are from the corrections.
They have, if you haven't seen them, they are just very well made. And then in the center, they have a little plaque that you can put your business name or your loved one's name or whatever it is that you'd like to put on there. And it's a really good addition. I know that they're on some side streets, Main Street, and I hope to.
The Lions Club bought some and put them at the park, too.
Oh, nice.
And when we were talking about the Co-op Connection,
Yeah.
last month it was at the Golden Crown,
Yes.
and Nate and I got our sandwiches and sat out there on the benches.
Oh,
It was great.
I miss Nate.
Yeah. So, anyway, thank you. That's
Good.
a good cap of what's coming in June, and I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. It's
All right.
fun.
Our first guest today is Shanda Oden, and Shanda is a graduate of Goodwill. You grew up out here.
I did.
In fact, you're several generations, I believe, here. And she graduated from Goodwill. You went away. You got married, and you have such an interesting life right now. And I think what's so interesting is how you and your husband have put together a family that, as your shirt says, what is it?
Family is more than blood.
Family's more than blood. And so let's just do the simple thing first. Let's talk about who you're married to, and then start telling about each one of the kids that you have and will have.
Okay, so I'm married to Jeff. He's from Mustang originally. I lived down there, and we met and got married. My first two kids, my oldest two, Taylor and Jaden Valdez, are from my first marriage. And so when Jeff and I met, I already had two kids. We met, we got married, and we quickly had Lily. She's 8 now. She just turned 8, and that's Jeremiah. It's been such a blessing to enter into the adoption world. After that, we had Connor. Connor's 5 now. And then when Connor was a baby, we learned about kids with disabilities in Eastern Europe. And
But tell how you learned about them, please.
I was wasting time on Facebook one day. I found an article, and the article was about a family that was adopting a little boy with Down syndrome in Russia. And the judge tried to block the adoption, and they had to really fight to finish the adoption. The judge tried to block it because he had a disability.
And he didn't believe that America needed to have more children with disabilities?
He did not believe that a child with a disability had a future. And our daughter Lily was born with a disability, born with some significant disabilities. And when she was little, she required a lot of care, a lot of medical care, a lot of physical care, a lot of care. And as we read this article and we started researching, because we realized quickly that if Lily had been born in a different country, that she would have been put in an orphanage, and she would have been believed to have no future, and she likely would have died with the conditions, just the very minimal care that they give the kids. And we started reading, and we found out this was going on all over the world. And so that led us, my husband and I started talking and praying, and we had already adopted. We already knew that it was a huge blessing. We already had a child with a disability. We already knew she was a huge blessing. And so we started talking about the international adoption of a child with special needs. So a few months later, I was cruising the internet. I found Risa's Rainbow, and that's when I realized that people like us could adopt a child with disability internationally. That's the first time I realized that international adoption could be financially feasible, because the cost is anywhere from $25,000 to $40,000 for one kid, depending on the country. So we found Risa's Rainbow, and they help families raise grant money. They give away that people can donate to families adopting, can donate to grant funds for kids, and can come up with the money to adopt. So I used their website. I researched several times, and one day I found a picture of a little girl that just spoke to me. So I took it to my husband. We talked about it. We committed, and our daughter Vika, who will be 9 next month, has been home almost 2.5 years now.
And she's another white-headed little girl, just like Lily.
Yeah, Vika looks a lot like me, which is kind of interesting. But Vika has, I think, a cool story. She was in an institution in Ukraine for kids with significant disabilities, kids that were deemed uneducable. Vika was 6.5 when we met her, brought her home. she is deaf. She has an intellectual disability and she has some vision issues, and she had no language. They didn't know she was deaf. They didn't sign with her. She had no language. We were told to expect her to be like an infant for her whole life.
Because she was still in a diaper, wasn't she?
She was diapered. She couldn't feed herself, dress herself. She needed complete and total care when she came home. But we brought her home, and it's been hard work, and some days seems like it's slow going, but she's blossoming. She's signing, she's interacting, she's learning to become independent, she's learning to cook, she's learning to help clean up after herself and to dress herself and feed herself and all those independent things. She goes to school. She's just blossoming. She's an amazing kid, and she was locked away with no future. So that experience only deepened our resolve that these kids belong in families. No child should be raised in an institution. So we started praying about it and took our time, waited for God to tell us to go, and now we're going again. This time we're going to bring home 2 little boys.
And it started with one, right?
Yes, it started with one. We had been praying about this little boy for several months. He just captured us, but we just kept praying. We just wanted it to be, you can't jump in because you want to save a kid. You have to jump in because you know that this is a child that God intended for your family, and you want this child part of your family. This is the rest of your life. So it's very important that it's the right decision. So we prayed and prayed, and when God told us yes, we were so excited to jump in and bring home a 4-year-old little boy. We know he was born in 2014, so he'll be 4 roughly. And we went forward with our home study and gathering our documentation and getting prepared. And during that process, we learned where the first little boy is. And then we learned that there's a second little boy available in that same institution. And so we prayed about it, and at the end of our home study, when we were getting ready to finalize everything, we decided to adopt the second little boy.
Who is how old?
He is 7.
7. And what's their names?
And the 4-year-old is Simpson, the 7-year-old is Slavic, but those are screen names. So when they come home, they will have different names.
Do you choose their name, or do you stay with the name that they...
You can choose what you do. You don't find out their full name until you get to Ukraine. You don't find out a whole lot in Ukraine. They diligently want to protect their kids and the information about the kids, so you don't get very much till you get there, which I am fully on board with. But we don't know a lot at this point. It's a huge leap of faith to adopt from a country that doesn't tell you a whole lot.
And they also don't have a lot of medical care, correct, in the institution. So you really don't have good diagnosis.
Yeah, they're orphans, and they're orphans with disabilities in a country that is just now beginning to try to accommodate and acknowledge the worth of people with disabilities. I hope to see that tide turning and to see more kids kept with families and part of the community, but it's not there yet. And even here in America, I have to advocate for my kids all the time, and they're orphans. They don't have anybody advocating for them. So the medical care is usually very limited. With Vika, they would tell us things like, well, we were going to go to that doctor, but we haven't had the money yet. This costs the institutions, which often have small budgets. So we have some diagnoses, we have some guesses, but we'll pretty much start fresh when we get here.
That's interesting. So recently we had an event at the park, which was a money raiser for you and your family, correct?
Yes.
And it all goes towards the adoption costs.
Yes.
So anybody who made any donations at that could make into the 501c3, and they know that the money went towards the adoption costs.
Yes, all the money goes to Reese's Rainbow, the organization I shared. We have a grant account there that people can donate to, and then the money doesn't come to us until we have travel dates, and it's for verified adoption expenses, which is an awesome way for people to donate. It's also tax deductible for the donor.
Because it's a 501c3.
Yes, because it's a 501c3. It also protects the money, so we can't go to Disney with it. It's all for adoption expenses.
But now this will be 8 kids, correct?
Yes, this will be 8 kids,
And so you may have to buy a bus.
possibly. We have a pretty big van, so I think we can cram in there.
Well, and I think at some point here, honestly, the 2 boys are older.
Yes.
Right, one's in college.
Yes, our 19-year-old's in college, and then we have a 17-year-old who's finishing his junior year, and then Jeremiah is 15 and finishing his sophomore year. So we have 3 kids that are older, and 2 of them are driving, and the third is about to be driving. So
And they really help, because I've seen pictures and I've seen your kids with your kids. That just
Yes.
makes it. But I've seen how they work with, and it's as if you have 3 really, really good babysitters, right?
my big kids are awesome. My big kids are awesome with their younger siblings. They jump in and help. I don't have to ask. They like their siblings. They enjoy being around them. We make sure they get their downtime. So you see us out and about, and generally one of the bigs has a little one, but if they want to go off, they do. When they're at home, we make sure they get their downtime. But they are awesome. They love their siblings. They help take care of them. They help guide them. They are just really, really good. They're 100% on board too.
So as a parent, I can see, because of Lily, why you're drawn, and you said you're good at it, right? That you've learned some easy ways, some better ways to make kids work better. Work out better is what I guess it should be.
We have learned over the years, we've spent a lot of time educating ourselves. We've tried to soak in everything from, the people that we've worked with, whether it be physical therapy, occupational therapy, all of that. We learned with Lily, and then it just expanded with Vika when she came home, how to set up our home and our life for the kids to be successful, and to become independent and to learn that independence. And it's just working really well. And I get asked all the time how we do it. I don't really know. We do it one day at a time, but we also work really hard to structure our lives so that it works for the kids. And we're seeing the girls learn more independence every day, and that's really rewarding.
It doesn't hurt that you're also very calm. I mean, as a family, you're a very calm family.
Yeah, and laid back. It takes a lot to really stress us out. Behavior issues and stuff like that are not as big of a deal. We try to stay calm about it, and a lot of that's learning the place where the kid's coming from and how to help.
Okay, so that's a picture of your family, and you talk about the bigs. What are some of the qualities of the bigs as themselves as individuals do you think has happened because of the littles?
I think that because of Lily and Vika, especially with their disabilities, my big kids have learned to be very calm and very understanding. But they're just really loving, and they just love their siblings, and they want to help them. And I think that my bigs have learned independence, and they've learned how to help foster independence in the littles, but we've just all learned how to work together as a family. And I think that's important. But I see a maturity and a calmness and a lovingness in my big kids that I don't think that they would have had if they didn't have siblings that have extra needs. I think that it's changed us all, and it's been good.
And another thing that I think is important, you talk about fundraisers and all this, and some people have helped you, but basically it's been your family and your church and extended family that have just been doing things to raise money, correct? I mean, the thing at the park had some people helping, but your family was working all out. The garage sale you have, that's you guys working all out. So you're raising the money basically. It isn't a big begging for money at any point.
No, we have had some amazing friends and some amazing people from the community and our church family that have stepped up and helped. And that's awesome. But we 100% feel like it's our responsibility to raise this money. It's our responsibility to get these kids home. I love that people want to come alongside us. I love that our community and our family and our friends and our church family, they value kids. Mm-hmm. They value these kids that are not valued by the rest of the world. And we have this amazing community that values them and has come alongside us and is helping them. And I think that that's amazing. But at every step of the way, we want to be working for this, giving everything we have, just giving everything that we have to this adoption, and to fundraising, and to making sure we finish it out and get these kids home.
So you think you'll have the kids home in July sometime?
I think September. I think
September.
I think our first trip will be the first part of July. Maybe middle July, but then our second trip will be about a month later, and then our third trip that will actually bring them home will be about a month later. And we'll be in Ukraine about 2 weeks during that trip. So,
and you even have one of your bigs is trying to learn Russian, right?
Yes, he is.
Because it's you and one of the bigs that is going to go pick up the boys.
Yes, for the last trip, Jeff's going to stay here and work.
And take care of the other kids.
Take care of the other kids. The first 2 trips, my husband and I both have to go. So we both have to go and meet them and accept the referral, and we both have to be at court. And that's good because we'll get to visit during those trips and bond with the kids, and they'll know who we are and who's bringing them home. But then that last trip, our 16-year-old Jaden is going to go with me and help me bring them home. So that's going to be really exciting.
Bringing home a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old who speak no English.
Yes.
Keep us posted.
It's going to be wild.
All right. Well, we wish you the best of luck, and we're so proud to have caring people here in the Panhandle like you guys.
Thank you.